Looking at a KLX or a Kawasaki KLX 300. This is the kind of the dual sport version here. I'm gonna give you more opinions than facts, but I'm gonna try to give you everything that I know about it. And then some things, how it compares to other supermotos that I have messed with or know a little bit about. We're gonna go over a little bit of the specs and things that I think could be better, and things that I think other brands should probably try to do. But first, just a little bit of a, I don't know, if you're watching, you hadn't messed with dirt bikes much or the Japanese bikes. This is the first Kawasaki that I've owned. I've rode quite a few. I never have liked Kawasaki. And it's just, when it comes to the Japanese bikes, you normally just, most people just pick a family and go with it, because they're all, Suzuki, Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, they're all good bikes. They're all reliable. There's plenty of models that had their faults. There's some that are even, that are way better than the others, but all in all, they're all good. It's just kind of a Ford and Chevy thing. You pick one, or whatever the first bike you get, whether it's a Honda or a little Yamaha. Most of the time you start out in little XRs or PWs or the JR50s, or, you see a lot more of the Hondas and Yamahas and the small kids bikes than you do Kawasaki's. But anyway, that's kind of how that is. And I just never have. What it boils down to is the handling. I mean, for the most part anymore, on most of all the Japanese bikes, they make pretty close comparable models as far as motor and power wise. So you really just start comparing the way it handles more than anything. And that's more on the dirt and track type bikes. I think when you get into the dual sports or supermotos or whatever you want to call them, you start getting into some differences. And one thing that I really like about this bike, and the reason I was wanting to try it out, is it's, they make a 230, which I have not got any experience with. So there's not a whole lot that I can say about it, other than I would imagine it's a lot like the Hondas. I think Hondas are a little bit deceiving. I was a little bit misled when I tried a CRF 250L, because it is definitely far from the 250R dirt version, if you're familiar with those. So it's not like, I think the first time I come across one, I'm thinking, hey, that'd be pretty sweet, because the 250Rs have got a lot of power, but they're not the same. They're not the same. If you look up specs on them, they're far from it. But, in their defense, a 250R would be pretty tricky out on the road. So, you see those in supermotos. The same thing with the WRs, I think. Now, they may be a little more close comparison to the YZs than the CRFL and the CRFR. The CRFL is kind of like the, when you get into the Honda 650s, I think that, the L is a big difference in the R. You'll see a lot of L's. They're automatically set up for the road, kind of like this, but they're definitely not the same bike. But anyway, again, back to the 300. Kawasaki's made a KLX 300 for a long time, 300R, and I've always heard good things about them. I have never thrown my leg across one set up for dirt. I had an uncle that had one that I really wished I would have tried when he had it, just because if you've watched any of my other videos, you can't go wrong with 300 cc's or, the 300 off-road bike. They're just a four-wheeler, don't matter. The 300 so far, two-stroke, four-stroke, don't matter. They've all been real reliable, been in the middle on power. So it's a good size motor. So that's one thing I like. And another thing about these is this 300 motor is the same that's on the R. So if you are familiar with a KLX 300R, you're looking at the same, from what I found, is the same motor. where your big difference is the, other than suspension and tires and stuff like that, is gearing. So there's where you get your difference as far as on the road and off-road. You know, you got, obviously, the plastics and stuff's different. Seats are different on the R's, more set up for dirt. I mean, like I said, but I'm just talking motor-wise. You know, you're getting the R just with a different setup. They're 292cc. I think they're 11.1 to 1 ratio. The bore and the stroke is the same. So you're not, you know, you've got the same bike here. You've just modified it for the road as far as the gear and suspension and all. This one is, it's still got the 18 on the back, which I like. It's got the 21 on the front. You know, the 18, if anybody's ever rode woods, that's the size you want. You know, the track bikes run 19s. They don't go as good. The tires are, you know, too narrow. The profiles aren't thick enough on them to have any flex. They're just not any good for for woods riding. So I like the way this one's set up with 18. So you got kind of some tire options there. Same with the 21 on the front. Obviously, another thing that is a little different on these than the R's is the brakes. I mean, they're both disc brakes, but they're a little bit different sizing. Then I don't know the specs right off, but a little different sizing. I love the black, I think, in the camo, but you know, obviously that's going to make a slave out of you if you do a lot of off-road riding, which I'm not a fan of as far as having to clean all the time. If you were just going to ride the highway, then yeah, I'd put me some Supermoto street tires on that thing, and the black would be sweet. But doing a lot of off-road mix, I wouldn't. I'd rather just have the green, and the silver would be a whole lot easier to keep clean. I have had dirt bikes in the woods with black wheels and black plastics, and they never look good. They show every little briar scratch and everything. So that's one thing I don't like if you're going that route. But as far as just looks, with it being clean, I think that's a sweet looking design. There's not any of the other ones I think that look like this. This thing is just, it's ready. You know, it's pretty simple as far as with the lights, the mirrors, the gauges and all. You know, the gauge is real simple. It's got a trip A and B on it, speedometer, tachometer, total miles. That's it. You don't have, it's got a clock. So there you go. That's it. It's, no fuel gauge, nothing like that. But, you know, you don't need that on just a little dual sport. We're kind of mixing it up here. You got high and low, and you are on your headlights, signal lights work real well. You know, just like on most of them, left and right. Then you click it to go off straight. It's got your helmet holder on the back. It's got a tool pack, so that's pretty good. The gearing, I'm not sure on the R's. I'm pretty sure the R's are a 1450. Somebody can correct me on that stock. And these are a 1440. So, you know, that's and a 6-speed transmission, which I kind of liked. I mean, when you ride in the woods, you know, people kind of frown about them. I know a lot of the KTMs, the EXCs and stuff had 6 speeds. You very seldom use first. You very seldom use sixth when you're riding in the woods. But if you converted it to a dual sport, it's there, and that's pretty nice. I mean, again, you're not really using first. That's going back to where you can ride off-road a little bit without changing your gearing, and then the 6-speed kind of helps you on the top end. I noticed on this one, I've not had it out on the big roads, just back roads. I think it's geared perfect. If you can cruise along around 50 mile an hour in 6th gear, and you're running about 4,500 RPMs, from what I can tell. The roads ain't real flat here, so I don't have like a long straightaway to just dial that in real close, but that's pretty much how it runs there. So, you know, top speed, not sure, but it would be up there pretty good with this gearing. You know, it's not got a lot of, again, if you're used to all the R bikes, the KX 250s and 450s, the YZF 450s, the CRF 450s, 250s, all that stuff, and you get on one of these, you know, you're going to be like, oh, well, it's, you know, it's weaker than pond water. But it's it's a good setup for the pavement, because it's not really going to come out from under you. You know, if you're riding this thing in the woods, you really got to jerk it to kind of wheelie it. But a lot of that's got to do with these tires. If you had a meaty off-road tire, to make it a little different. In the woods, I've took it in some little single track trails I had around here and liked it the way it was. I mean, you know, had to do a little clutching in the tight spots, but it's not bad. I mean, I wouldn't care to ride it up the road, pitch it off on a trail, and you know, go at it. It's definitely, you just have to go into it the mindset, you know, you're not on your, I ride Honda CR250s, a lot of 2-strokes. I've got a 500, but it's you know, you can't get off of those and get on one of these and, you know, be expecting a whole lot when you get in the woods. But it'll crawl around. It does well with that. The suspension's real soft, so you know, that feels pretty good. It's not an aggressive feel, so when you're riding around, you know, it's more of a cushy ride. But if you were doing a lot of like forestry roads and government land, stuff like that, which they are a lot of that around here, it would be perfect for that. It just the seat feels pretty good, and all that. So anyway, that's a good thing about it. It's again, I was more curious because there you see a lot of 230s. I would imagine they are pretty weak, especially when you're on the big roads or even on you know, tight trails or steep trails. So I really like this bike. I mean, if I was just going to straight up have a good dual all around dual sport, this I really like this thing. There's still some other models I definitely want to try, but if you're going this route, you know, this would be a good pick. Again, I want, you know, if you haven't looked up a lot of stuff, I wanted to let people know what I was curious about, and you know, so you don't have to do a lot of comparison. And oh, another thing I wanted to add, it's not, you know, it's a key direct fuel injected bike, so you know, if you're into that kind of thing, that's nice. I mean, it starts good. You seen it first in the video. Starts real good. So, you know, as far as tuning them, I'm not up to speed on that. I'm a carburetor guy. I know how to clean and tune a carburetor, so it's new to me, but I do know what fuel injected stuff I have. You know, there's a lot of there's not a lot of maintenance. So as long as it's working good, it's really nice. You don't have to work your guts out. But anyway, it's I don't know all the specs on it. I'd like to know a little bit more about it, but it's pretty nifty. But this thing's got a sight glass down here for your oil. Not a huge fan of that. I just don't like sight glasses. KTM they did that for a while. I had a KTM that had that. I don't like it. I guess it's good if you don't want to pull a dipstick, but if you're checking it when it's cold, it's just, I don't know. I like the dipstick better. But it's a sweet bike. Like I say, this one here's brand hammer new, pretty much. 55 miles on it, but it starts really good. It's really quiet. You know, I'd like to see one with a good pipe on it. So anyway, if you have any questions or you want more videos or more information that I've left out, or you know, feel free to message me and correct me when I'm wrong, you know, on some stuff, because some of you guys are real gurus on this, but I'm not. I'm more in the dirt world and just tinkering around a little bit with the dual sports. So, you know, y'all have any good information that other people need to know, be sure and put it in the comments. I've got some other bikes that I'm gonna be doing some reviews on, and so be sure check those out. I've got plenty of other ones on video, or on mowers and tractors and all sorts of stuff. So thanks again for watching. If you like my stuff, I appreciate you subscribing. It lets me know that what I'm doing's helping and growing, and everybody likes to see growth. So have a good one.